Today's episode is brought to you by GraceAid, the drink of choice for the medieval church. Hey you! Are you feeling spiritually sluggish? Trouble doing enough good works? Then you need new GraceAid! GraceAid's special formula is packed with all the spiritual enrichment you need to begin your journey towards justification in the eyes of the Lord. Don't believe us? Just ask our satisfied customer.
Before I found GraceAid, I had no hope of being saved. But at least now I'm in with a fighting chance.
Now that's endorsement. Long-term users of GraceAid have reported such spiritual benefits as 30% higher chance of salvation, a crippling awareness of their own failings, and unnatural amounts of gas. So get GraceAid today. The only way to guarantee your salvation. May not actually guarantee salvation. Always consult a priest before using GraceAid. GraceAid is not a substitute for willpower. Past godliness is no guarantee of future blessing. Sanctification levels may go up or down. If swallowed, consult medical help immediately.
Wait, what are you doing?
Just doing a video, the Grace one.
The Grace one?
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with grace.
Well, alright then. What is grace then?
Well, it's not a thing, that's for sure.
Oh, not a thing. Whatever.
Grace is not a thing. That's the Powerade view of grace, or what I like to call the cheese sandwich view of grace. Do you remember last time we thought about David and Goliath? David turns up to the front lines with some cheese sandwiches for his brothers, and he gives them the bread and the cheese. And sometimes people think that God's grace is like that. God gives you stuff that helps you to win your battles. But that is not grace in the biblical sense. It's certainly not grace in the Reformers' sense. When the Reformers spoke about being saved by grace alone, it's not a cheese sandwich that helps you win the day. You need your king, you need your champion, Christ, to come and win the battle for you. That's what grace is. Grace is not a thing.
And grace is not infused. That's another mistake people make about grace. The medieval church held the view that grace was something infused into us, like the GraceAid or the cheese sandwich. Something that gives us the get up and go to change our behaviour and make us more just. But rather than grace being a thing that enables us to help ourselves, grace is the gift of Christ himself, and it's he who saves us. Think of Ephesians chapter 2 verse 5, where we're told that God made us alive when we were dead. It's not that we were dead and were given something to start making ourselves alive. No, we're told that God made us alive. Being made alive comes from outside of us, and it's something done to us. Can you imagine Jesus at the tomb of Lazarus, trying to get Lazarus to save himself?
Lazarus, come on! Come on, Lazarus. Lazarus, you're making me look bad. Fine, you're on your own. Here's the third mistake we make about grace. We think it's a thing, we think it's infused, but thirdly, we think it's earned. God helps those who help themselves, we say. But that's not a biblical idea. God helps those who are utterly helpless. In fact, God helps those who not only are dead, God helps those who wish that he was dead. Think of the troops behind David on that day of battle. They did not help to gain the victory. It would not have mattered if they formed a cheerleading troop shouting David's name.
Yay, David!
Nor would it have mattered if they were demeaning him and deriding him. In fact, they were demeaning and deriding him. David's brothers did not want him at the front lines, but David saved them anyway. He saved them not because of what they were like, but because of what he was like. And what's he like? Gracious.
This truth, that grace is the gift of Christ himself, was something that John Bunyan, author of Pilgrim's Progress, discovered. One day, as I was passing into the field, this sentence fell upon my soul. Thy righteousness is in heaven. And with the eyes of my soul, I saw Jesus at the Father's right hand. There, I said, is my righteousness. I saw that it is not my good frame of heart that made my righteousness better, nor yet my bad frame that made my righteousness worse. For my righteousness is Christ. Now my chains fell off indeed. My temptations had fled away, and I lived sweetly at peace with God. So grace is not a thing that saves you.
Grace is not Jesus telling you, come on.
Grace is not just given to the keen ones, the cheerleaders.
Grace is God's gift of Jesus to you, even in all your sin. Now that's amazing grace.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and most of all, share these videos with your friends. And of course, don't forget to tune back in next week for our next video on faith alone.